That was a good one.
Right? What is up, guys? Welcome back finally to a new episode of the Rantcast. We've got pretty much the same setup, but we do have a new logo, so shouts to Brandon for making that. I, of course, have a new mic here, sounding super, super beautiful. But before we get started on today's topic, Brandon sent me a new version of the DaSamNudge intro, and I so happen to have just downloaded this. This is a genuine first reaction to me seeing this new intro. So let's go ahead and hit the spacebar and check it out. Oh my gosh. Yes, dude. I mean, oh, this is killing my poor iMac. Sorry about the choppiness, guys, but that is fire. That is so freaking cool.
I'm so glad you liked it, because honestly, I wasn't able to preview that version because I wasn't sure. I just doesn't want to play it all on my computer. I'm glad it actually rendered out fine, no glitches. Yeah, that's good to hear. That's the good reaction that I want.
Yeah. So, I mean, I only got to watch it like super choppy because it killed my poor iMac since we're already recording this video on it. But regardless, guys, that's the new intro. You've actually probably already seen it in a couple of my videos because we're recording this out of order of my release schedule. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into today's topic, the removal of the YouTube dislike button. If you guys have been using YouTube long enough, you will remember the star rating system. That is what came before likes and dislikes, and it was very, very early days YouTube. Brandon, do you remember the star rating system?
Oh, yeah, man, that goes way back, bro. I mean, gosh, that was probably like one of my favorite ways you could rate a video, because there's a lot of videos out there that, you know, maybe aren't 5-star quality, but they're definitely not terrible. So you maybe like rated like a 4 or a 3, man, that is going way back, and that was one of my favorite things. And I remember the controversy involved when they went to a more binary, you either like it or you hate it kind of format. But yeah, I mean that was the old retro YouTube that I really remember fondly.
The good old days of old school YouTube with the star rating system and the video responses. Actually, that was a thing back in the day too.
I really missed that. That was one of my favorite things too. I wish that could still exist.
Yeah, me too. I don't understand why they have made the decisions they have on YouTube, but I mean, once you find out who owns it, that being Google, it makes complete sense. Back in the day, YouTube was a independent company of any big corporation like Google, and then Google saw it and they were like, "Oh, let's just scoop that right up," and now we are where we are. I'm just glad we don't have to deal with the Google Plus integration anymore. That was man,
that was a disaster.
Yeah,
I'm glad they took that out. That was actually a good decision. I mean, a bad decision to even implement it in the first place, but a good decision that they realized that, oh, this is a terrible idea. Let's not do this. And they actually, went with that. So, good job, Google. Good job for knowing that you made a mistake.
I don't know if we should congratulate them on that, because, I mean, integrating it to begin with, I actually had a really old video on this, and yes, we are already very far off topic, but you know what, it's the Rantcast. It's the first one we've done since April, so just roll with it. We're getting back into the flow here, but regardless, I was digging through some old videos of mine that were privated because I had taken them down a while ago. I'm actually starting to relist a bunch of my old videos, so if you guys want to go check those out, if you want to fill your life with cringe at my horrible old videos, you can now go through my whole YouTube video library. Not all of them are back up, but a good amount of them are back up. Regardless, you can go through and watch those, but I found a video that I had made back in 2013 when they first implemented the Google Plus YouTube channels. And my complaint with it was that I could not comment on someone's video unless I paired my YouTube channel with my Google Plus account. And because of that, I obviously paired it with my Google Plus account, and then it changed my profile picture and the name of my YouTube channel to match what I had on Google Plus. And that was not cool. I was not too happy about that.
Yeah, that was like one of the worst things ever, and it was so confusing because they had like sometimes you couldn't reply to certain comments. It was just a complete cluster. I wouldn't say the full word, but it was a complete cluster. And I remember that time, and the whole YouTube was a complete mess, even a more miserable mess than it is today. I mean, it still has its problem today, obviously, but I mean, back then, I mean, making a comment and replying to a comment, to an old comment, it was just miserable and confusing, and it's something that was frustrating because this should be so easy. I mean, it's YouTube, owned by Google, one of the biggest tech companies, and they couldn't figure something as simple as that. So I don't know.
The fact that there was a time where YouTube was more miserable than it is now is actually pretty mind-blowing, because there was a time, and it was around that 2013 era, where they were pushing Google Plus just so hard on everyone, and they were like, "Oh, you want to comment on a video? You got to link your channel. Oh, you want to reply to a comment that was made before Google Plus existed? Sorry, this user has not linked their YouTube channel with Google Plus, so you can't do that." And it was terrible, and I'm glad they did away with that. But if I remember right, when they did discontinue Google Plus, I think it was near the end of 2019 or something like that. Maybe it was last. No, I'm pretty sure it was 19. It was 2019 they discontinued it. If I'm wrong, I'll put a correction on the screen somewhere. But when they discontinued Google Plus originally, I remember even that caused some issues with people who had never unlinked their channel from Google Plus, because I do remember enough people complained about the Google Plus integration that YouTube actually gave you the option to unpair your channel from your Google Plus account. And I did that, and it messed up even more stuff. It changed me back to like my first ever profile picture on YouTube and my first ever name on YouTube, and like locked me out of a couple of features. So eventually I reverted it. I went back to linking it with Google Plus, and it finally went back to normal, and I just never did anything about it until I had to when they discontinued Google Plus. I don't know if you had the same issue as I did, but it was a disaster. It seems to be cleared up now that Google Plus has been gone for a couple of years, but still, things like this should not happen on major platforms like YouTube, which is owned by a massive company that is Google.
Yeah, I mean, like, pretty much Google, they got the whole social media thing wrong. Like, you don't put a gun to someone's head like, you got to use this social media, and that's what they were doing. You don't force someone to use a new type of social, like they were trying to compete with Facebook with this whole Google Plus thing. And I mean, it failed epically because, again, they were just forcing a gun to your head like, no, you will use Google Plus. And yeah, no wonder it failed. Social media just gets popular, and I don't think anyone really fully understands how that even really happens. I mean, like, for example, TikTok's very popular right now. Why is it popular? Why? I mean, I'm sure there were other Vine-like apps that existed to TikTok. I'm sure that they exist now. How did it get popular? I don't know. Well, I don't have the answer to that.
I can cut in here and tell you, TikTok used to be called Musical.ly. You remember Musical.ly?
Yes, and that was very cringe.
Yeah, it was, but a lot of people use that platform because I think it has to do with the very short attention span of the young people, I guess you would say. And it feels weird saying that because I'm only 21, you know, I've only been out of high school for a couple years now, but regardless, the new young generation, I guess, you know, like the people who are just getting out of middle school going into high school, they were very fond of Musical.ly. And then whatever company owns TikTok bought Musical.ly and kind of merged it, and then all of the Musical.ly users went over to TikTok. But regardless, I feel like the reason it's so popular is because of the short attention span that people have now, along with the loud is funny mindset. In my opinion, most of the TikTok videos that you see are quite annoying, but if you like it, fine. That's great. I'm happy for you, but it's not my vibe.
And I think every single social media kind of has its own like target generation, you know, like, so, you know, Facebook has mostly older people now. TikTok has your younger people. YouTube's actually just kind of all over the place. It has something for everyone, which is really cool. And it works.
Same with Twitter. There's people of all ages on Twitter.
Yep, that's very true. Google Plus, it never really had much focus. It's like, what's this for? It's just a really bland Facebook competitor that I guess was supposed to be for everyone. It didn't have anything really new and cool to offer in the table. I mean, it had a simple design, if I remember correctly. I barely used it though. But yeah.
Well,
we're
honestly,
probably way off topic.
we are, but it's okay because it's involved with what we're talking about here. Google Plus, I honestly didn't mind it. I liked how it worked. It was actually my first social network that I had, because I wasn't on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or anything till I was 13. And I think I made my... No, I did. I made my Google account when I was 11. So I was on Google Plus and experimenting with it, and there were some cool features, but I feel like a big reason why no one really adopted it is because Google was forcing people to use it. Like, if you want to make an app and have a really fast way to make people absolutely hate it, force them to use it. That's the easiest way to get someone to hate something, is forcing them to use it, right? And that's basically exactly what Google did with Google Plus. They were like, oh, you guys like YouTube, huh? Yeah, I noticed you guys like YouTube. Well, now you can't use it fully without Google Plus. Ha 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 ha. And then everyone hated it, including myself. That's when I really started hating Google Plus. And now it's gone, so we get the last laugh.
It's a long and distant memory that we probably won't have to worry about again, but who knows? Maybe Google will resurrect something and concoct something equally as silly and stupid, and then we'll be making another Rantcast about that. So
that's true.
Yeah.
It's very possible for that to happen, and it wouldn't really surprise me. With our off-topic rant out of the way, it's time to talk about the actual topic of this video, and that is the removal of the dislike button on YouTube. Now, YouTube actually has a little blog about it that Brandon just sent me, and we're gonna go ahead and take a look at that right here. So check this out, guys. An update to dislikes on YouTube. The dislike count will now be private across YouTube, but the dislike button will remain. Basically what that means is, when you're looking at a YouTube video, you used to be able to see the like and dislike counts on each video, but now what you're gonna see is a view count, and then a like count, and then a button that just says dislike next to it with the same thumbs down icon that's been there forever. Viewers could still see and use the dislike button, but because the count was not visible to them, we found that they were less likely to target a video's dislike button to drive up the count. Now, this is getting into the reasoning YouTube gave us for removing the dislike button, being that it was used to target channels as like a way to bully them. I don't know, man. I honestly don't think I've ever seen a campaign going out to be like, yeah, guys, go dislike every single one of this person's videos. Usually what you do is go to the comments section and say, oh, your videos are terrible or something along those lines, you know?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was thinking too. I mean, if you really want to cyberbully someone, I mean, cyberbullies, they want to make themselves known, and the best place to do that is in the comments section. I mean, have you ever seen the comments section on very popular YouTube videos? It's like, it's absolute trash sometimes, and it's like sometimes very terrible, and that's where I think the biggest problem is at, and where it lies, not the like and dislike ratio or whatever, and having that number display itself. I don't know. I just feel like this is a very strange way to solve that problem, and I don't really fully understand what they're trying to go for with this.
Right, and there's obviously other theories as to why they removed the dislike button. A pretty popular one is because it has to do with politics, and we're not going to talk about that because that's just a very easy way to get people mad at you no matter what your views are. So we're just going to leave it at that. There's theories about it being for political reasons, but another reason that might be viable is because on YouTube Shorts and TikTok and a bunch of other platforms, there never was a dislike button. There was only a like button. Same with Facebook. There was never a dislike button on Facebook. So maybe this is just YouTube trying to align more with everything else, or maybe get the like and dislike button more similar to how it is on YouTube Shorts, and eventually the dislike button will just go away entirely. But that causes issues because say you're watching like a how-to video or a review video. Like, for example, say you're watching a video like you just bought a new mic, right? Say you're watching a video on how to EQ your mic in Adobe Audition, something like that, and you find a video with 2 million views and 10,000 likes. Now, for someone who's experienced in how YouTube works, you'll know even without seeing the dislike count that 10,000 likes on a video with 2 million views is not that great. And Brandon can probably agree with that, but regardless, to a normal person, they're going to say, oh, 10,000 likes, that's pretty solid, when in reality, if you were able to see the dislike ratio, it would be 10,000 likes to 300,000 dislikes on this hypothetical video on how to EQ a microphone. And in that case, you know, if you were able to see that like-dislike ratio, you'd be like, oh, this video must suck. This video must not be super informative as to what I'm trying to do with the expensive mic I just bought with the software. But now you can't see that. Now there is a plugin for Google Chrome. I'll leave a link to it in the description that will return the YouTube dislike count, which is very helpful, but it doesn't help on mobile or, say, people using Safari or other browsers. All I know about is the Chrome extension, which is cool that someone made that, but the fact that it had to be made in general is just not cool.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, it's really hard. You know, YouTube has, I don't remember what the statistic is, it's always changing, but there is tons of videos being uploaded to YouTube every minute, every second. And there's a lot of really crappy videos of different quality. And especially with how-to videos and tutorials, like, for example, making the new intro for Sam here. You know, I used a lot of Blender, and Blender is a very complicated piece of software, and there's like dozens and dozens of tutorials for it, but some of them, a lot of them, unfortunately, are not that great. And one very quick way to tell if you're wasting your time or not is by looking at the like and dislike ratio. And, well, now I can't. I have to, like, read through the comments and everything, figure out what's wrong. And, I mean, it does... You can figure out if the video is good or not just based upon that, but it is more time. And again, with like projects like this, you don't always have that much time. So, you know, time is of the essence, and this just kind of wastes time removing that dislike feature. But yeah, no, it's very annoying. I don't really like it. Please, Google, change it back. Be smart, be cool. I get what you're going for, but this does not help cyberbullying and all the other concerns that they're trying to point out.
Right, and I think realistically, if they wanted to remove the dislike button, but if they actually like gave us the real reason they were removing it, I'd still be mad about it, right? Because I think it should be visible for like the reasons we just explained, for time conservation in how-to videos and stuff like that. But if they had given a real explanation other than, oh, it's to prevent cyberbullying, because that makes no sense when you think about it. Like, the comments are still there. If the mind of a cyberbully is just going to be like, oh, shoot, I'll dislike the video anyway, and then leave an even stronger comment or multiple comments from different accounts, you know, something like that. I don't know. It's weird, and I don't like the change, as you can probably gather.
You can still disable ratings. Like, I feel like that was the easiest way to discourage cyberbullies from dislike bombing your video, because I know for smaller YouTube channels that can be a problem. I know it happens in the Siren community quite a bit sometimes, which is kind of sad. But
yeah, well, the Siren community has got a lot more toxic in recent years.
Yeah.
It's
and
getting
that's
bad.
A whole other topic there too.
Yeah, we won't get more into it than that.
But yeah, I mean, just disable comments. If you have a small YouTube channel and you are dealing with a bunch of cyber bullies and idiots with a keyboard that want to just start drama for no reason, I mean, I would just disable ratings entirely, and I think like that's a more effective solution than getting rid of the dislike button, which pretty much makes it harder for everyone. So yeah, no, I think Google really missed its mark right here. I don't think it really solves anything.
Yeah, I agree with that. And here's the deal, too. As Brandon mentioned, there's the option to hide the amount of likes and dislikes to the public. Like, people can still like and dislike the video, and you as the creator can see that in your analytics, but someone watching your video won't be able to see the likes and dislike count on your video. Why not just have removing only the dislike button be an option for creators instead of forcing everyone to do it? How hard would it be just to add that as a little thing, like right under where you can hide likes and dislikes, hide only dislikes? I think that would have been a better option. It would give creators the ability to choose if people can see the dislike ratio or not. And I think that would be better, as I said, than forcing everyone to have, their dislikes privated.
One big problem with YouTube is that the corporate side of YouTube and the user side of YouTube, there's like this big disconnect. What corporate thinks is really good for YouTube is usually not the case, because it seems like they never use YouTube in their life, or they don't create videos for it. They're in the business of bringing in advertising dollars, and I mean, I get that. It's a business. They got to find a way to make money. It costs money to host those videos on the servers. I understand that, and that's fine. That's perfectly understandable. What I don't get is, users are the ones bringing in the money. We're the ones that are creating the content that make YouTube money. And it seems like they just have zero regard. The corporate side of YouTube has like zero regard to what is actually more beneficial to the users. They're just so out of place. They're so out of touch. Okay, we've talked about the dislike button being weird, but also like advertising policies make no sense either. It would be very acceptable for TV to have violent stuff on there with the guns. It's very acceptable to have, cussing on a TV show, particularly like in cable. But on YouTube, for some reason, it's like offensive for advertisers. I don't understand that. It's like they don't think that advertisers, I don't know. If I ever see an ad for that plays after a violent show or something, I don't automatically think that advertiser endorses that. If I saw like an Apple ad right after some type of action movie and they like blew up a building or something like that, it's not like I see the advertiser as being, oh, they must support that kind of stuff. They must support like violent acts of terrorism or something. And no, they don't. For some reason, YouTube thinks that. They think that if there's an advertiser following like a violent video or something like that, or someone's shooting guns safely, that may not be advertiser suitable content. It just makes no sense, and it's kind of weird to me. And maybe it's the advertisers that think that, but then why would they have their same ads on TV where you could also make that same association? It just makes no sense. I'm confused.
Really, and what Brandon said about how it's the creators making YouTube the majority of their money, if not all of their money, is true, because if you guys don't know how monetization works on YouTube, like I run ads on my videos and I get money from that, but I don't get 100% of every penny that a video would make. What YouTube does is they actually take, I believe it's 45% of your ad revenue per video, which I guess it's not too bad considering that they're giving you a place to host your content for free. But at the same time, without the creators making content on YouTube, their money would go away entirely. And if they keep doing things that make creators mad, they're just gonna find somewhere else to upload their videos, like on Vimeo, or Storyfire is actually an upcoming one. I'm hoping that one takes off because it's got some promising qualities about it, but we're a little too early in the game to know for sure where it's gonna go. But potentially Storyfire could take off if Jesse Ridgway pulls it off and does everything properly. Storyfire could take over YouTube because there's a lot more creative freedom to be had on Storyfire than there is on YouTube. So we've talked about some theories. We've talked about YouTube's reason for removing the dislike button. We've talked about some theories we have, but deep down, everyone knows the real reason. Take a look at this, guys. YouTube Rewind 2018, 3 million likes, 19 million dislikes.
Ouch.
That's it, guys. That's the real reason that they hid dislikes.
Yep. Oh, that's painful.
Oh, yeah. So there you go, guys. That is going to be it for this return of the Rantcast. This is a pretty recent topic. Usually we're not too good about talking about topics like on time as they happen, but hey, we finally did it with the removal of the YouTube dislike button. Well, not remove, the hiding of the dislike count on YouTube, I guess. Big shouts to Brandon, as usual. Go subscribe to him. I'll leave all his links in the description as I usually do. Guys, come back tomorrow. We'll be returning with the next episode of the DaSamNudge Tower series on the Minecraft server, and we'll have some more videos coming out this week. But anyway, guys, until then, that is going to be it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it, and thank you for watching.